All right, moving on to the next section, which is 7.3. So the first thing is expansion slots. We've already learned about expansion slots in desktops. So of course, laptops are going to have expansion slots to put adapter cards into, probably for more legacy laptops. And we already learned about what some of those adapter cards are: TV tuner cards, eSATA, etc. So what are these steps to install a card? Well, step one, click the Safely Remove Hardware icon to make sure that that device is not in use to remove it from your system. Click the device you want to remove. It's going to pop up, tell you it's safe to remove the device, and then remove it if it is hot swappable because your device is on. If we scroll down, we can see some adapter cards for laptops, which are Express cards. You may have seen these before, definitely on older laptops. This is an Express card 54. It's 5 millimeters thick. It's a PCI Express. You can do USB 2 or USB 3, depending on the interface that you have. Next, we have an Express card 34, different form factor, same thing, but that way you can have whatever capability you're trying to add to your device. Easy day? Not very common anymore. All right, external memory, we've got flash memory. You can use USB thumb drives or flash drives. You can use flash cards like SD cards, micro SD, and then you may need a reader to read that. And if we scroll down, we can see what a flash drive looks like. Wow, look at that. What would you call that? Thumb drive, USB drive, etc. This is flash-based technology, external. Do we use these? Not at work. Are you allowed to bring these to work? No, nothing that holds data. Flash cards. If we click on that, here we go. We've got SD cards. And we've already learned about those as well. Secure digital. And the last one is micro SD, which is a smaller form factor, and we can see that here. Now, a lot of days, these are multifunctional, where they can take different form factors of cards. Good to go? Good to go, sir. All right, next, a smart card reader. We've probably seen these before. When you go to the Next, the mini Next, to make your purchases, to buy your Monster Energy drinks. So there's two forms to read these cards, these smart cards, your debit cards. It's contactless and contact. So for contact, it requires a physical connection by inserting it, right? We see that chip reader at the bottom, or you have contactless using NFC, near field communications. That's your tap to pay. Easy day? Moving on. The next thing we have is what? When I say memory, we're referring to RAM. What's the form factor of RAM in laptops? SODIMM. And there it is right there. Now, because the form factor of laptops is compressed, it's small, right? Remember installing RAM in computers and it was sticking straight up? That would take up a lot of space in a laptop. However, it'd be very difficult to remove that when it's horizontal like that. So in fact, this tray usually can angle up and down. But you've got notches on the side that will allow that to open and close, and we'll see that. Scrolling down, we have a laptop where we can see the RAM information. We'll go more over that in Chapter 11. And below that, we have how do you install RAM.
Hello everyone. It's time for us to do an upgrade on RAM. So in this video, we're going to install SODIMM memory. And SODIMM RAM is the RAM that we're going to use inside of our laptop. For us to get started, first we want to disconnect our battery. I'm going to release the battery by using my corresponding buttons on the back of the laptop, and I can pull that battery out. After removing the battery, it's time that we make sure there's no electricity left inside of our components on our laptop. So I can open the laptop, and we can press and hold that power button just to discharge any remaining electricity. Now that all the power has been discharged from the laptop, we can close it up, and we want to access the RAM access panel. Here in the middle of our laptop, I can see that there's a symbol for RAM, and this is where we're going to open this up and change out the RAM inside of our laptop. So we have our zoomed in view, and we can see our This is where our RAM memory is for this panel. You can see we have some ventilation here to help heat dissipate. Also, there's another screw here that this has a keyboard logo on it. We just need to remove this screw here in order to access our RAM inside of our laptop. So I can go ahead and unscrew. With the screw out, we just need to pop that panel up, and we can access our RAM. Now, the question is going to come into play is, what type of RAM should we be using? Well, that's going to be based off of our documentation. Inside of here, we can take a look and see what type of RAM this is currently. Also, we can look at the documentation for the model and manufacturer of our laptop to see which RAM would be recommended to replace it with. Now, to replace this stick of RAM that we see here, we have to take some steps. We've already got the power adapter unplugged from the laptop. We've already removed the battery from the laptop. Now that we have the RAM displayed, I can take these metal clips and I can pull them outward. When I do that, the RAM is going to shift and it pops up at about a 45-degree angle. It's going to be loose, so now I can just take it from the ends and pull it straight out. I can put this on my anti-static mat that we're working on here at this time. So now I will get my new RAM that I'm going to replace the old RAM with. And again, this is going to be laptop memory. This is SODIMM. In comparison, here is desktop memory that I currently have. And you can take a look at the desktop memory size versus the laptop. There's a very big difference there. So you want to make sure that you're shopping for the right type of RAM. After you've purchased the correct type of RAM with maybe more memory or faster speeds, we want to install it. So you take the RAM that we purchased, and it's keyed. You can see the keyed slot there. So they're going to go in one way. I will put it in at an angle. Again, it doesn't have to be precise, but you'll slide it at that angle about 45 degrees. You watch those gold pins go in, and I can just push it straight down, and those metal clips on the sides will lock into place. And there they are. They're locked in. Now, what you saw was only one RAM chip. Commonly, laptops have two. So where's the second one? Well, depending on the laptop and the manufacturer, that second RAM slot is probably under the keyboard, which means we would have to remove the corresponding screws to gain access under the keyboard and touchpad, and there we would find the second RAM slot. So we can go about doing that in another video when we access.
Stand up if you're falling asleep. Stand up if you're falling asleep.
To close it up, we'll literally take that access panel and slide it back into place.
Second.
And then we would screw it back closed.
That's up to you. Just shake it off and drink some water. Try to stay awake. Questions on that video? No? Okay. Let's see. Do we have another video after that? No. We got a lot of videos in this chapter, though. Ooh. Who remembers what this is called even before the drop down? Express card. Specifically, this is going to be a 3-4. IT2. Next, this is a, and this is SODIMM memory RAM. This is a flash drive, 100%. All right. Next, we have replacing components. So two general terms we need to know are CRU and FRU. CRU, FRU. Good? So CRU stands for Customer Replaceable Unit. FRU is Field Replaceable Unit. What's the difference? Well, C, customer, that's something the customer can replace. So for example, we've seen a laptop battery where it's on the outside. They don't have to open it up and they can just click a button and it slides out. That definitely would be a customer replaceable unit. A field replaceable unit is something that the customer should not be replacing, like the keyboard, and we'll see why in the next video. What are some other FRUs you can think of? Motherboard, definitely. What else? CPU. Basically, things we're learning in this course, right? What are some customer replaceable units or CRUs? RAM. We just watched that video. Now, if that's the RAM, if it's not soldered onto the motherboard, right? But that video we just watched, a customer should be able to do that. Good? Hard drives, depending on what it is. So a laptop like this, the user could probably, the CRU would be for the hard drive that they could replace because it's outside, it's on the back, underside of it, accessible. Good to go? Awesome. Questions on CRU or FRU? Okay. Now, you for FRUs, field replaceable unit. So you may think, oh, that means that somebody's got to come and fix it. That's a technician. Or you could send it off to a repair center, to the manufacturer, etc., for FRUs. All right, going down. Now we want to see why a keyboard is considered a field replaceable unit.
We're here to replace a laptop keyboard. Now I have two different laptops to show off. This laptop with the keyboard is a little older, but still got a lot of features. For this model, we've got some locking tabs here that we have to work with. Also, on the back side of this laptop, when we close it and flip it over, we'll find that we actually have screws to deal with as well. With this laptop, I have 1, 2, 3 screws that all have a keyboard icon on them, which has been identified by my manufacturer's manual. So for us to get started on this laptop, we would first unplug our power adapter. We would eject our battery from the laptop. And then we would zoom in and take a look at these 3 screws. Let's go ahead. Now if you take a close look, you can see that 1 screw, 2, and screw number 3 here. We'll zoom in on the middle one. And on that middle screw, what you'll see is a keyboard icon. Now this is specific to this specific laptop. The other laptop I'm going to show does not have any screws that are securing the keyboard. For this laptop though, if I follow the instructions in my manual, it says do not remove the screws, just loosen them. And that's what I've done. I've unscrewed them enough so that they're loose. You can see how it's moving there. Now those screws have been loosened, I can turn my laptop back over and we'll take a look at the keyboard. With those screws loosened, we've got our keyboard available here. We're going to take a look at the 4 sliding locking tabs, and we're going to have to unlock those by sliding them back. Right now they're being held by that frame. So we'll zoom in and take a look at those 4 locking tabs regarding this specific laptop. So we're zoomed in, and we're going to take a look at these locking tabs. Here's the first one, and right now this keyboard is being held by the frame. So I can take a flat object like my flat-headed screwdriver here. I can just slide that locking tab back, and now you can see the keyboard is loose there. I can continue for the rest of my keyboard. Slide the next lever back, and the third one, and then of course our fourth one. And now our keyboard is completely loose, and we can pull it out. So that first laptop pretty much done, except for the connector. Let's take a look at the second laptop, as well as the same connector we would have seen on the first laptop. On the second laptop, there are no screws to remove on the bottom of the laptop. And also, there's no locking tab. Instead, we're just going to have our slots where we need to press to disengage the locks for the keyboard. So we'll zoom in on those, and I'll be able to show you how to do it. So if we take a closer look, we'll see at different locations, we have these security clips for our keyboard. And again, there was no screws for this keyboard, which is very different than we saw on the other laptop. So all you do is take a flat-headed object like a screwdriver, I can press in there, you hear it click, and now the keyboard is going to come up. And I go across to every single security clip, and I'll disengage it by pressing in there. Also, you can hold on to the keyboard as you depress on the security clips, and now it will come up. And here's my keyboard, I can flip it over. Underneath, we'll see 2 ribbon cables. We'll zoom in and take a look at those next. So we've got our zoomed in view, and here we can see our 2 ribbon cables coming off of our system board and attaching to our keyboard of our laptop. So we need to remove these. Now these are called zip connectors, zero insertion force, and they can be easy to break. Trust me, experience. So what we want to do is take a flat-bladed tool and we're going to remove both these ribbon cables. Now you may just have one. I have 2 because I have one for the key for the keyboard, and I can just put my flat-bladed tool underneath, and I can literally just pull up this lever. minimal force for this. You don't want to break these zip connectors, which I have done. This other one for me, this second cable, this is for the power for the backlighting for my keyboard. My keyboard keeps it lit up, so this is the cable for the backlighting. So I did the same thing. I'll just take the 5-volt tool and I'll just lift up on the zero insertion force connector. And I can just take the ribbon cable. You see how it's oriented? It says up. I can take it out. So the keyboard is now completely removed, and now I can put in a new one. Assuming you bought a new keyboard, you would take your keyboard, put it face down, and then you locate the correct direction for your ribbon cable. And all you have to do is slide it into that zero insertion force connector, and we just push down on that lever. Again, minimal force for that. It's not going to come out. I'll take the other ribbon cable. This one also is oriented with up on it. And this is for my backlighting of my keyboard. I'll put it in its slot with the zero insertion force connector. And once it's in, I can push down and secure it into place. At this time, I will zoom out and we'll finish our install of our keyboard. With those ribbon cables back and installed, we can take our keyboard and I can angle it, and you can see those tabs at the bottom. I need to slide into the laptop and get those at the right locations, and the laptop keyboard will slide into place. With it slid into place, I can just push those locking clips back in across the top. And now the keyboard is installed. Take your time with these steps as you replace your keyboard in your laptop. And remember, minimal force on those connectors. Do your best, follow the instruction manual for your specific laptop, and become that IT professional.
So what do we think? Keyboard easy to replace? No, I'm hearing yes. Okay. Well, what would we call that? CRU or FRU? FRU. Even though you may think that's easy, which I think the most of us would say no, right? That's an FRU, field replaceable unit. You want a technician like yourself to do that, not a typical user or the customer.
Every replacement is easy until you break something.
That's right. Questions?
Have you replaced a laptop keyboard?
I have, yeah. Or individual keys and things.
I just don't like how the little connectors look like film, like negative film. Like, why is it? Like how does
They're ribbon cables. They're very thin. They can tear, so you got to be careful. Cerna. Well, the USB cable is a lot bigger, right? And on the inside of a computer, space is more limited. Shire.
Aren't most like internal components on laptops connected with the ribbon cables?
Bingo. Yep. Most of the internals are on ribbon cables. Good. Wedges. Question over here. Watkins.
So I noticed, I know he's not working on a desktop motherboard, but I noticed he didn't have an anti-static wrist wrap.
He should have been wearing an anti-static wrist strap. Good catch.
And even more so, he was using a screwdriver
Screwdriver.
to, pry up some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were talking about like magnetics and stuff like that. What kind of messed it up?
Correct. You'd want to use a plastic screwdriver or a plastic prying tool to do that, not metal, and definitely not a magnetized screwdriver. So very good catches there. Anything else? What'd you say? You want to watch a video on how to replace a screen? Okay, let's do it. Let's watch that.
Focus exactly on your LED screen here that's inside of this bezel. Or we can focus on removing the entire laptop display. So we're going to go through a little bit of both. So to get started, the first thing I'm going to do is remove this top panel here of my laptop. This is where my power buttons are, as well as where my capacitive touch and my audio is. To do that, I'm going to close my laptop lid, turn it upside down, and we have a couple screws to remove. The screws I need to worry about are going to be these three right here. So I remove those screws, and then we'll continue. With these three screws removed, I can turn my laptop back over, and I will open it up. We can take a look at removing the power and audio panel. Now to do this, we got to worry about something. There's a couple of those ZIF, zero insertion force connectors. So let's zoom in and take a look at what we can do with that. All right, with our zoomed in view, we've got our power control over here. Then we've got our audio control over there. These These are both using zip connectors, which are zero insertion force. So very easily and with minimal effort, I'll just take my flathead screwdriver and I'll pull up on that zip connector. I can pull that ribbon cable right out. I do it again over here for my audio control. So it's almost buried under there. But same thing, I can pull up lightly in the zip connector and pull that cable right out. With the cable pulled out, or both of those regarding this top panel, now I can take my flathead screwdriver and I can get in there and I can pop that panel out. With the top panel removed, you can take a look underneath and we can actually see how our laptop display is hooked on to the rest of the system. So we're going to zoom in on this and take a look at some of those screws that we could remove if we wanted to remove the entire display. Here in this top left corner, we can actually see the laptop hinge, and there is one of the torque screws that have to remove in order to remove this laptop display. On the other side, if I were to shift the laptop over, we'll see here's the other hinge. And again over here, this is a screw that's holding on this entire laptop display. Now that's not it, there's more. Let me back out and show you. On the back side of my laptop, there's also another screw which is holding on for that laptop display with the hinge. I slide it over on the other corner. We got the exact same thing. Another screw that's holding that laptop hinge on. So if you did want to remove the entire laptop display, which includes the laptop top casing and all, we would remove all those screws, then we would go to lift the display off. Before you can lift the display off, we'll take a closer look at this motherboard one more time and what's connected to it. If I had to remove those 4 screws holding on those hinges, 2 on this side and 2 on the other side, we wouldn't be done. I couldn't just lift it off. What we have over here is the laptop LCD display cable. We'd have to physically pull up on this and remove it from the connector of the system board. Also, right above that LCD display cable, I've got multiple black wires. These black wires here go for the wireless antenna that go to the top of my display. Over here on the right side, I've got multiple wires. These 3 wires are also for wireless antennas. Based off of your laptop, you might even have wires for things like the microphones, as well as even for a webcam. So keep that in mind. These connectors are things that we remove from the wireless cards, as we've done before, and we would use those connectors and uncable them from our little troughs here, which is a plastic frame, in order to be able to pull that entire display off the laptop. Now let's continue on. We're talking about the exact screen itself and how we remove the LCD screen from my laptop. With this different view of our laptop, here we're going to take a look at removing and replacing the LCD screen itself, not the entire laptop display that we just talked about. To do this, we have these rubber pads here. My laptop has 4 of them. I will at first need to remove the rubber pads, and underneath them are screws that are holding this bezel on that screen. So I'll go ahead and do that now. If we're zoomed in view, you can see me take my flathead screwdriver, and just pop that rubber foot off, and there is that screw underneath. And I'll just zoom out and do this 3 other times. With all 4 screws exposed, now I can remove those screws and get access to the bevel of my laptop. My 4 screws are removed. Now I'm going to use my flathead screwdriver and I'm going to lightly pry out one of the corners. Now please follow the manual for your laptop specifically. Mine requires a little bit of minimal force here. Try to pry out a corner. With that corner out, I can just lightly go around this bevel. I can just pop it out of the display. At this point at the top, I actually have to use my slider in order to unlock the laptop and remove the display, as those locks are stuck to the laptop locking mechanism. And now that my bezel's off, we We have access to the LCD display, where there's lots of screws to take account here, as well as if we look closely, we will see the connectors that come down to the system board, and also the connectors that go to the inverter that's taking care of our power for our display as well. Now I've shifted the laptop so we can take a look at our display up here. And at first glance, you're like, there's a lot of screws to remove to get this LCD display out of this casing. Well, oddly enough, we only have one screw to remove here. And then over here, we have 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me show you these 4 on the side and how we're going to access them. To access those 4 screws, tilt my laptop on the side, and what we actually see here, you'll see these slot covers. And these are, again, little rubber covers that we have here. This and these are covering screws. So we either try to peel them off using a flathead screwdriver on this side, or what we can do is really see those screws, is push the covers off from this side over here. You see it lifts the cover up. With the cover lifted up, we then take them off. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the 4 covers, and I'm going to unscrew those 4 screws and take it off the side. With our 4 screws out on the side, we can now remove our last and final screw. The 5th screw out for my display. What I can do now is I can actually lift up this display. And you can't get your finger under it. It's okay to use it like a flat tool. You can just lift up. And now, this display is completely detached of any screw. What's holding it in place though at the bottom is what we mentioned before. I've got my connection which goes to my inverter. I've got my main LCD connection which goes back to the board as well. With all those removed, I'll be able to lift this display right out and put it in a new display. After dropping the new display, I would put those screws back in that we just removed and have a replaced laptop LCD screen. Make sure you consult your manual for these steps. Every laptop is going to be different, and please make sure you choose the correct specifications for the screen that you're replacing. So take your time, do your research, and become the best IT professional you can by being patient and following the correct steps.
Become the best IT professional you can, like staying awake and engaged and paying attention during the videos. Is something that would help with that a break right now? Are we ready? I know. Always ready. That's the right answer. Continuing 7.3. There are more videos that we need to watch. But first, we'll talk about power. So here in the top right, we can see a removable battery. Would that be a CRU or FRU? CRU. CRU. Very good. Customer replaceable unit. When might you need to replace that? Well, if the battery doesn't hold a charge. You plug it in for hours, you unplug it, and then it dies again. Right? Or maybe the battery overheats. Or if it leaks, you'll definitely need to replace that immediately. And of course, remember the previous chapters, how would we expose of a battery? Or get rid of? Follow local environmental regulations. Easy day? Awesome. Now, if you suspect the batteries wrong or faulty, you can replace it with a known good battery. And if that works, then you've figured out, yeah, that battery is bad. On your devices, if you notice it starts to swell, right? Your device is getting physically larger somehow. The screen is detaching from your device. That's an indicator that your battery is overheating, it's expanding, and needs to be replaced. Now, when you're handling batteries, you want to be careful with them. Don't just handle them all willy-nilly. We want to ensure that we're using proper care. Easy day? All right.
Hello everyone. There may be times where your laptop just won't charge its battery, or the laptop won't even power on when you have no battery in it, and you have an AC adapter physically plugged into the laptop. Well, what that might be is possibly your DC jack. Your DC is your direct current jack, and for me, that's going to be the jack that's on the back left corner of my laptop, which is all the way over here. So we're going to zoom in and take a look at that jack and see what we can do about replacing it if possible. Now, the reason we say impossible, some of these jacks are actually soldered onto the motherboard, and if it's soldered onto the motherboard, you're going to need to have it replaced by someone who knows how to properly use a soldering iron as well as some other tools, possibly even a desoldering pump. Do not attempt this unless you know how to do it very well with lots of practice so you don't damage your laptop. It may be best just to have this replaced according to the manufacturer. So let's zoom in and take a look at our DC jack on our laptop. Now every laptop's going to be different, but you're going to have to start with making accessible your DC jack. For me, it required a lot of disassembly of my computer. Now this DC jack is not easily removed and replaced. You can tell because it is soldered onto the board. So right here is the DC jack, and I can see how it is soldered onto the system board itself. In order to remove this DC jack, we would actually have to use a desoldering iron and be able to suck that soldering away with the desoldering pump. From there, we'd have to resolder a new DC jack on. Now this is not something that you'll commonly do on your own unless you know how to properly use a soldering iron and a desoldering tool. Otherwise, this motherboard with that DC jack should be replaced according to the manufacturer of the laptop. We'll take a closer look at this DC jack and you can see how it is connected to the system board. So here's my zoomed in DC power jack. You can see how it's connected to the system board, and I went through my entire manual even on my manufacturer, and this is not even listed as a replaceable part. So this is connected to the system board, and that would require desoldering as well as soldering on a new DC jack. So at this point, I would have to contact my manufacturer and have it either replace system board, or I'd have to refer to someone who is an expert at soldering and could do this successfully. So make sure that you take your time regarding replacing your DC jack if it's possible, and please consult your manufacturer's manual for your laptop as you proceed in any direction regarding replacing a DC jack.
All right, questions? Okay. Internal storage. What would the form factor be of internal storage for a laptop? So, not storage, right? Memory is SODIMM. What would it be for storage? 1.8, maybe 2.5. Huya? Awesome. Now, let's watch another video.
Hello everyone. In this video we get to work on an internal storage drive and an optical drive. Right here in the bottom right corner, we're going to start here first. Before we get our hands dirty, let's make sure that we have our battery unplugged as well as our power adapter cable removed from our laptop. At this point, we're going to zoom in on this internal storage drive access panel here, and we're going to remove and replace the laptop hard drive. Let's get started. So we've got our access panel for our laptop hard drive. You can see that there's one screw here marked with that disk symbol, and another screw up here marked with another disk symbol. So we're going to remove those two screws to gain access to our laptop hard drive. With both screws loosened, we're ready to open up that access panel. I have a little tab here, you can see it's going to lift up. I can just pick up and pull out that access panel. Below is the hard drive. This is my laptop 2.5-inch hard drive that we have inside of our laptop computer. To access this, you can see that I have one screw over here, which we're going to need to unscrew. And we see this is the SATA connector, so we know what direction this hard drive has to come out. The screw is loosened. In order to remove this from the SATA connector that we see right here, I'm going to have to grab this tab. I'm going to lift and slide it back. The hard drive is now disconnected from the SATA port on the motherboard of our laptop. You can just pick this hard drive up and it's removed. So here is our platter SATA 2.5-inch hard drive that we'd like to replace. Now you can see that it's inside of this shield here, which is this metal shield, and we have 4 screws holding it in. 1, 2, and the other side, 3, 4. What we will do is, off camera, remove this shield off of this platter 2.5 at that screw, and then also the procedure for me to remove my optical drive from this specific laptop. So we're zoomed in, you can see that screw. It's got that optical disc insignia on it, or that icon. I'll remove this screw, and that's going to make my optical drive more accessible. For this laptop, not completely accessible, just more accessible. So let's get that screw out of there, and I'll show you the next step for this specific laptop. Now the screw is out, it looks like it'd be good just to pull out an optical drive, but we're not. This laptop does not have a slot for me to easily push the optical drive out. This laptop is a little bit different. So I'm going to zoom out, I'm going to show you how to remove this optical drive from this laptop. So to start, you can see where we removed the screw, which was right here. But now for the optical disk drive, we got to remove it. It doesn't just pull straight out. What I actually have here in this model is a disconnect/eject button. That's different than just putting in a CD or DVD. What I need to do is push relatively firm, straight in, and release. And my drive disconnects from inside the laptop, and I can pull out the optical drive. If I purchase a new optical drive, I can replace it just by sliding it back in, giving it a firm push, lock back in, and now to finish up, I'll put my screw back into that lock slot for the optical drive. With the screw installed, we can connect our laptop back up with our battery and our power adapter, and we're good for our upgraded optical drive and our internal hard drive.
All right. What do we think of that one? Cerna.
So, since it's a smaller form factor, would you think obsolete for the use of SATA cables? Like the SATA cables?
They're internal, right? So that when you saw that adapter head and it was sliding into place, it was sliding into a SATA data and SATA power connector.
So if you opened up the laptop, there would be the SATA cable?
Yeah, it just is like here and connects to the motherboard. Good question. Anything else? Hancock, what'd you say? You want to watch another video?
Yes.
All right.
My bad, guys.
Hello everyone. Here we get to replace a wireless card inside of our laptop computer. To get started, first we want to unplug our power adapter from our laptop. Afterwards, we want to remove the battery from our laptop. To do so, we have to make sure it's unlocked. We have to use our lever and slide that battery out. There we go. Battery is removed. At this time, we want to access our access panel where the wireless card resides. And that's going to be right here. So I'm going to remove that single screw. Now this depends on your laptop. Some wireless cards can be very difficult to get to. Others might be easy, like this. With the screw out, all I need to do is pop up this panel, and we would have access to the wireless card inside. So let's zoom in and take a closer look. With our zoomed in view now, I'm going to pull back on this black cover here, and this just comes right off. But what we can see is I have my wireless card, and I have 3 wires coming into it. These 3 wires are our antenna wires. One's going to be a main, one's going to be an aux, and then there's an MIMO for multiple in, multiple out. Now this is going to be different depending on your wireless card and the laptop that you have. What we need to do next is we're going to remove these wires. Now you need to make sure you consult your manual that came with your laptop, or also you can look up the manual based off of your wireless card model to see what those wires are for. For my laptop, there's numbers here on the wireless card that correspond to the individual numbered wires as well. If you don't have numbers or an organized way to keep track of these, please make sure you take note of where each wire is connected before you replace your card. When you're ready to replace your card, we can just easily pop up each individual wire. You can grab it with your finger or with a safe pair of tweezers and just pull up each wire. You'll see it come off nicely. And again, keep those wires in order for where they connect or have them labeled. After your antenna wires are disconnected, my card has 2 screws that I need to remove. When I remove these 2 screws, we'll have access to removing this card. installing and upgrading RAM, this pops up automatically. I can take this wireless card with 2 fingers, and I can pull up and pull out. This wireless card is a mini PCIe. It's not a micro PCIe, or some people call it mini PCIe half-height. There's other cards as well, like mini PCI, which are larger, but this is my mini PCIe. So I would take this out and I'd purchase a new card, make sure it's the same form factor, mini PCIe. I'd slide in my new card, again about a 45-degree angle. You have it upwards. When you're ready, you would push down, and now we'll put our 2 screws back in that we removed previously. With both screws installed, we need to reinstall those antenna wires, and again, correct order is important. My laptop has them labeled. If yours does not, make sure you label them previously to doing a disassembly. I'll take wire 1, which is marked as wire 1. Now I'll just push it down on the antenna connector on my wireless card. With wire 1 installed, now I'll go ahead and do wire 2 and 3. With the 3 antenna wires installed, we can close up our access panel again. Also, we can put our cover on there again, so it's covered up with nice solid plug. With the access panel back on, we'll screw that panel back on so it doesn't come off. So last up, there's the battery. Slide it in. And then also, we can take our power plug, and we can plug the power plug back in. So we've upgraded our wireless card. Now we just make sure you have the correct drivers installed after the computer boots up. You're good to go.
Oh, he just said the word driver. What's a driver?
It carries it's the things
Hardware, software. We have a driver for each piece of hardware. It's the translator, right? Good to go? What's it start with? Martin?
So that like sheet you put over, that's just for looks, right? The black plastic things you put over the component.
Yeah, and to protect it a little bit as well. Yeah.
And the wires too, the antennas when it's connected home. Are they gonna be numbered too? It's like on the card they have like 1, 2, 3, or does it matter?
It is numbered, yeah, yeah. And it's so that they can be in the right place as well. Good questions. Any other questions? Okay. No. You know why? Because Tucker just asked me if we could watch another video.
Hello everyone. If you come to that point in time, you feel like you should replace your speakers, ask yourself some questions first. For example, my speakers are right here at the front of my laptop. And if I don't hear any audio coming out of those speakers, I'm going to double check to make sure they're not muted, and also that the volume level just isn't set really low. After I verify that the speakers aren't muted and that that volume level is boosted up and still I'm not hearing anything, it'll be time to replace these speakers. Now, I followed my manual and I had to disassemble my laptop very thoroughly in order to be able to get to these speakers. And I'm almost done. According to my manual, I have 3 more screws. 1, 2, 3. I'll remove those 3 screws that include my PCMCIA card slot, as well as my SSD card slot and this system board here. After I remove that, we'll come back and continue. With that last set of components removed, my speakers for my laptop are now accessible. Right here what we can see is here's my speakers for my laptop, and they are connected by a connector into my system board. So before I can remove these speakers, I'm going to have to remove that connector. So let me zoom in for you, and I'll show you what we're working on here. All right, so we got our zoomed in view, and here you can see our laptop speakers installed up front, and then we can see the connectors that go to our system board from that laptop speaker. And you can take a quick look at it. There's the laptop speaker. It's got some identification codes on it, so we can replace that part if needed. We see that connector going to the system board. So either we can try to use our fingers to pry out that connector and just pull vertically straight up, or we can use something like a flathead tool or a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to move that laptop speaker out of the way, and I'm going to take my flathead screwdriver, I'm going to push it, and
We like that one, huh? Yeah?
Please watch another video.
Watkins, of course we can watch another video.
Yes. Yes. Can we watch another one after this?
Yeah.
Right here underneath our heatsink and our fan. This fan gets covered in dust and debris, so you want to clean out this thing for sure and possibly replace it if that fan starts to go. Also, with this heat sink here, this is going to carry the heat from our CPU and be cooled by that fan. So let's get started. Our laptop is opened up, our battery is disconnected, as well as our power adapter has been removed. So we're going to take a closer look and we're going to zoom in, but we have 6 screws here regarding my CPU and my heatsink. Also, there's a screw up here that's holding this fan in place. So let's zoom in, take a closer look, and start our removal and replacement. This would be an awesome time to consult your manual for your laptop to make sure that you're following the correct steps to actually disassemble your laptop and replace or remove your CPU as well as your heatsink as well as your fan. So we're going to start off first and we're going to unplug our fan. Right here, this is the power adapter for the fan that goes to the laptop. You can use any type of flat-headed tool to try to pull this up. You can also try to use your fingers to make sure you consult your manual so you know how to remove it. For me, I use a flat tool and I can pry up our power adapter for that fan. And that's the fan that's going to be utilizing air to keep this heatsink cool, which will then in turn cool that CPU. So that fan is unplugged. Now what we want to do is I want to remove the screw at the top, and the screw at the top is holding that fan into place. I'm going to go ahead and get my screwdriver in there. Mine requires a Torx screwdriver for this one. So all my screwdriver is in, and I'll just be able to take that screw out. The fan screw has been removed. Put that to the side. Then I have 6 screws here, and they're actually numbered. Those numbers are important when we're installing our heatsink and CPU, so it's a nice flush connection to that CPU holding it in place. So I'm going to remove those screws. I'm just going to follow the numbered order of 1 all the way through 6 for each screw step by step. My 6 screws have all been loosened, so this time I'm going to go ahead and pick up that fan first, and this fan will unsnap out of the case. And you can take a close look at it. That is dirty and dusty. That's one of those reasons you want to keep these things clean. Use that can of compressed air like it says in the manual for your laptop. Down below we can see this is my heatsink. I can go ahead. I can pick this up. And again, put the dust and dirt in there. So make sure this is kept clean as well. That's the importance of the compressed air can. If this heatsink doesn't cool, that CPU is not going to stay cool. You can see there are remnants of thermal paste as well. So we'll put some new thermal paste in our laptop and do this right. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to remove our CPU. We can clean this thing up, and also we can install a new CPU in as well. Our CPU is right here, which is under the heatsink. So I'm zoomed in. If you look closely, we have this screw here. And this is going to be the locking screw that's going to lock the latch that holds that CPU in place. So in order to get this CPU out, which right now it's not going anywhere, I need to just turn this screw ever so slightly. Very, very light force on this. Again, minimal effort, just as we saw before in another video. I just put my flathead screwdriver in and turn it ever so slightly. And you see how it releases the CPU, how it moves back. And now, I can pick up that CPU from the laptop. And there it is. So we can take this CPU out, we can either clean it up and put it back in, or we can replace it with a new one. When you have your new CPU or your cleaned off CPU and you're ready to do your install, we'll take that CPU, we'll drop it into the slot. And once it's dropped into that slot, and you're not going to push it in, we're going to take that screw at the top, which is that locking screw. And as we turn that locking screw, you can watch that CPU lock into place. There we go. So that CPU is now locked into place. We don't want to put the heatsink in just yet. What we'd like to do is take a little bit of our thermal paste, and you'll follow the manual for your laptop for this. And we'll put a dot of thermal paste right in the middle of that CPU. There we
just like we talked about with desktops, right? You want that across the entire surface of the CPU. No, that's just one CPU. Those are other chips, dedicated GPU, Northbridge, etc. Good?
And our heatsink needs to sit exactly on top of that CPU. Let's zoom out and install that heatsink again. When you go to install the heatsink, just gotta align it properly. And once that heatsink is set up into place, we can go ahead and take our fan. We can put that CPU fan, which has been cleaned. It's nice and no longer covered in dust. Put that back in, or if you're replacing the CPU fan, you drop a new CPU fan in, and ours just locks into place. We'll put that power back in for our CPU fan, so don't forget. Push that little power cable back into the socket on the motherboard. And now we need to screw both the CPU fan and our heatsink back into place. So I'll take my torque screwdriver. We can go ahead and do that fan, lock that fan in. With the fan into place, we then follow the order of our screws, which are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll put them in that order. We've successfully installed our new or upgraded CPU, as well as our heatsink, as well as our CPU fan. The system should be ready to go for us to put it back together, or to continue replacing and modifying our parts. Keep practicing, take your time, and make sure you consult your laptop manual for your specific instructions for your device. Thanks for watching, and keep working on becoming an IT professional.
Fantastic. Well, that one got an applause. We're getting even more enjoyment and learning out of these videos.
Encore, please.
Encore indeed, but first, Garner.
Was the CPU socket PGA? PGA. That's what I thought. Mr. Novak, could you explain what that orange? I know it's the heat sink, but like, why is it shaped like that? Is it because it's a laptop in the form?
It's a laptop, so the form factor has just got to be a lot more unique.
Has to fit.
Yeah, it's going to be proprietary.
Hello everyone, we are here to replace the motherboard inside of our laptop computer. Now this was a desktop computer, it would seem a whole lot easier. And the reason being is because replacing a motherboard in a laptop, that normally requires you to remove almost every single component within the laptop itself before you can even pull out that motherboard. So before you go through the time of replacing the entire motherboard in your laptop, please order your replacement motherboard and make sure you order one that actually fits the design specs for the model of your laptop. As in, follow the manual of your laptop and make sure that you order the correct laptop motherboard. Now here I am, I've almost removed every single component. I still have some connectors inside that need to come out. For example, connectors that went to the Bluetooth module inside of my laptop that I need to pull out, as well as connectors over here that connect, for example, the hard drive, as well as other components. Up here, this is the microphone, I still need to remove that. After removing these connectors, we'll take a look at any remaining screws that we have to remove from our motherboard. With every single one of my component cables unplugged, and up here in the corner, this is actually from my modem. That just hooks into the modem connector. Every component is unplugged. Now we can take a look at the remaining screws of my laptop motherboard that I need to remove in order to unpry this motherboard from the remaining plastic frame that's still around it. Now I have 4 screws that are still in here, identified in my manual. 1, 2, 3, and screw number 4 in the bottom left corner. After I remove those 4 screws, we can pry off the plastic casing and remove the motherboard from the frame. My 4 screws have been removed. It's time to remove the system motherboard from our laptop. At this time, all I need to do is pull back on the casing a little bit around where these connectors are. As I'm pulling back on that casing, I can slowly, and again with minimal effort, lift out the motherboard. becoming an IT professional, and take your time as you get to this point of removing a motherboard from a laptop.
Yes. Good questions? Okay. Bernie, what'd you say? One more video?
What?
Well, I said video.
We all did.
Hello everyone, we are here to work with the exterior frame of our laptop. That's our plastic frame. Now the exterior of our laptop is typically comprised of multiple plastic parts. You can see I've got some of these parts removed. What I have here is the removed plastic part for the hard drive, as well as for the memory module, and over here for our wireless LAN card. Up here, that's where the battery was before. Now, these plastic parts are responsible for covering these components within our laptop. Also, this huge casing itself is part of the plastic frame. Now, we have many different plastic parts, and as I mentioned, they are removed. So what we can do is take a look at our manual. Let me pull up mine. Straight out of my manual, this is the plastic kits. And this plastic kit, part of the manual, shows you that item 1, that's a cover for my PC card slot, which is on the side of my laptop. Besides that plastic part, we've got the hard drive cover, as mentioned, which goes where I said before. We also have the memory module for RAM, which is item 3. We've got the wireless LAN card plastic kit, which is item 4. And lastly, item 5, which is the Bluetooth module cover. Let's take a look back at my laptop. So here's my laptop again, and these are those card covers that were removed. 1, 2, 3. And then also down here, this is where my Bluetooth card is. And if we take a close look at this plastic frame, you can actually see right here, there's a Bluetooth indicator icon. We can zoom in on that Bluetooth icon, and you can take a closer look at removing this plastic part. So with our zoomed in view here, you can see that Bluetooth icon, and that's our Bluetooth module cover. So I can take my Phillips screwdriver, and I can unscrew that screw to remove that plastic cover. With that screw completely loosened, I can take that cover, and it just pulls right off. And inside, what we have here is the Bluetooth card. And you see it's just hooked on there on a connector. I can remove that card successfully and safely and disconnect it from the connector. Now let's take a bigger view regarding our plastic frame and take a look at the entirety of the laptop frame itself. If I wish to disassemble the laptop frame itself, we have to go ahead and remove the proper screws. So you need to identify the correct screws that are installed that need to be removed from your manual. After I remove these leftover screws on my frame, we can then flip the laptop over and disassemble the plastic frame from inside the laptop. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now to remove the last screws. At this time, all the remaining screws have been removed from my laptop. I can take my laptop here and I can flip it back over. And we can take a look at the inside of the laptop. What we're going to have to do next is remove any remaining screws inside of here that are identified by our manual. Also, you can see I have a couple components that are still installed. Items such as the trackpad and the scroll, along here with a battery and even the microphone of my laptop. So I can quickly unconnect anything else that's remaining connected, and then I can talk about screws that need to be removed from this side. Now, it's always important that you disassemble safely and with minimal force. So don't just yank hard on a component. Use the correct tool to help give yourself some leverage and take it out successfully. Now that I have those connections disconnected from inside the laptop, according to my manual, I have 2 screws that I need to focus on removing. Screw number 1 is up here, and screw number 2 is down there. After moving those 2 screws, I should be able to pry up this laptop frame. So I'm ready to finish this. I had to take off 2 more hidden screws. I didn't know where I'm at until I consulted the manual. Again, under some rubber feet, you might find some screws, so make sure you follow your manual to the key. Those were 2 that were missed. And now with those 2 screws off, I can follow my manual. The instructions are, I need to pull up and pry this plastic frame upwards.
Any questions on that video? All right, let's see what we know. True or false? Thermal paste should be applied after installing the CPU heatsink. False. Before replacing laptop components, both the battery and power cable should be removed. The laptop manual should be consulted before removing any components. Component replacement steps are the same for all laptops. False. Laptop motherboards have a standard form factor and will fit most laptops. False. Laptop batteries and RAM modules are considered CRUs or customer replaceable units. Raise your hand for true. Raise your hand for false. That's right. Very good. Are there any questions?